In the last video, I had just arrived in the Palouse area of Washington. It was the afternoon of my 5th day of travel across the country. The Palouse is a broad area of farmland of rolling hills of wheat and barley, along with several other crops. The spring planting was just starting to sprout and painting the lush land a vibrant green of new growth. I will spend the next few days exploring and photographing the area. First, I will travel around the greater Colfax area and then head west to the Palouse Falls. It was still early in the day and the weather was beautiful. It was time to start the real adventure. Instead of heading to a campsite some distance away, I would make a visit up to the top of Steptoe Butte. Steptoe Butte rises more than 1,000 feet above the Palouse Hills, giving those who make the ascent sweeping 360-degree views of the farmland below. This was a photography scouting mission for me. My plan is to shoot from the butte just before sunset. Originally, I thought that would be tomorrow, but now, because of the great weather, I am contemplating coming back later this evening. Following the road that corkscrews around the butte, I am struck by how photogenic things are below. The beauty of the rolling hills, decked out in the green from the spring planting, scream out to be photographed. I now understand why photographers from everywhere make this a must-visit destination. After reaching the top, I rewind a little bit back down the road to a place I feel offers the best location to get the north and northwest vantage points I am looking for. From there, I find a number of potential compositions for my evening shoot. You would be fooled if you came to the butte searching for those wide, scenic vistas. Instead, the best shots come from a long lens focused tightly on the shapes and light cascading on the landscape below. Later that evening, I came back after finding my campsite. The light was perfect. I was excited with what I captured. Here are a couple of my photographs. Because of my success the night before on Steptoe Butte, I could now concentrate and explore the sweeping farmlands from ground level. With map in hand and a preset route in mind, I set out once again to scout for locations that I would photograph later in the afternoon or early evening when the light was best. I had a wonderful time traveling up and down the small dirt roads that crisscrossed the farms of the Palouse. Not only was I finding photography locations, I was getting some easy wheeling in at the same time. In the end, I covered more than 90 miles during the day, going from place to place. There were so many great photography opportunities to choose from, but in the end, I would only be able to choose a small number because of the distance between each location. Over a late lunch, I carefully down-selected my best view and planned my route for later in the day. Here are a couple of my photographs from later in the afternoon. I have been lucky so far with the weather, and because of that, I have finished up my photography in the Colfax area sooner than expected. Although I had a contingency plan for an early morning shoot, I didn't need it, so it was time to move on. It was Sunday, and that would turn out to be a mistake for my planning. but more on that later. It was another beautiful day, and I wasn't complaining. Today I would head southwest. I planned on camping near the Little Goose Lock and Dam located on the Snake River for the next 2 nights. Other than Palouse Falls, which was my primary target, I wasn't sure what else I was going to photograph. After many miles of pavement, I turned onto a dirt road for the last 17 miles of the trip. That was unexpected, but all dirt roads are welcome. About a mile before I reached the dam, I came upon a camping area along the river, where several campers were already enjoying the water and getting some fishing in. After looking around, I then proceeded to the dam, which I needed to cross to get to the south side of the Snake River and to Palouse Falls. The dam itself was impressive to my East Coast eyes, the biggest I had ever seen, although I would see bigger on this trip. The water, calm just a mile away, was quite turbulent here. Although told by one worker that I could cross the dam every hour on the half hour, another told me some 30 minutes later, as I waited near the gate, that they only allowed crossing from Monday to Thursday. Remember, it was Sunday. I was forced to go around. That quarter mile turned to a 72-mile detour, but eventually I got to where I needed to be, and remember, it was a beautiful day. Knowing about where I would camp later in the evening, it was time to head over to the Palouse Falls, about 27 miles away. Carved more than 13,000 years ago, Palouse Falls drops 200 feet and is among the last active waterfalls on the Ice Age floods path. It was named Washington State Waterfall in 2014. On arrival, the park was full, with people enjoying the sun and the sights of the falls. Too early to shoot, I instead scouted for the best compositions, although by default, they were limited. With that done, I joined the others and sat around enjoying the day. I wouldn't wait too long, as I didn't want to lose all the sun entering the chasm below. Later, I returned and camped at a dispersed site overlooking the Snake River. There wasn't easy water access, but the view was great. Once again, I woke up to some beautiful weather, but I didn't have a real plan for the day. Originally, I thought I would spend the day exploring the Snake River area, but my extensive travels yesterday pretty much convinced me that I wasn't going to see anything new. So instead, I decided I would travel west and explore the area east of the Columbia River Gorge, tomorrow's destination. This would set me up for an easy drive tomorrow. Without internet, I didn't know exactly where I would end up, but I decided to head towards Pasco, and from there, make a better plan. Along the way, I entered the quaint town of Dayton, where I found a car wash. Like me, the Jeep needed a shower, so I pulled in and cleaned it up. As I continued towards Pasco, the landscape once again began to change. Farmland still, but unlike Colfax, this had a kind of corporate farming feel to it, and the crops changed too. This was the first time I began to see orchards. Upon reaching Pasco, where I feasted on a fast food breakfast, I decided to head to a state park in Goldendale, Washington. They had showers, and with the Jeep taken care of, it was now my turn. It was just a little more than 100 miles to the campground. The roads gradually transitioned from big highways to smaller ones. The farmlands gave way to green forest. I arrived at the Brooks Memorial State Park late morning, and being a Monday, there were only a few campers and plenty of available sites. After picking a site and setting up, I decided to go on a quick hike around the campgrounds. One trail took me to the big old fir tree with a 53-inch diameter base. Maybe large for the area, but certainly not for Washington. Getting back to camp and feeling the temperatures starting to fall, I collected some firewood. After dinner, I made a campfire, sat back, and enjoyed the rest of what was a nice, restful day.